Hey everyone, welcome back. My name's dustinkreis, and today we are going to do a game discussion on a game I do not actually have a physical version of. We're going to talk about Metal Gear Solid Peacewalker. It was on a PSN sale, I don't know, like a week ago or something, and it was like $6, and I was like, all right, I'll play it on my Vita. Instead of tracking down a physical copy, I went for that. But now I kind of want a physical copy of it because, whew, man. This is probably the best Metal Gear Solid game I've ever played, and I still have a few to get through. I got 4 and Ground Zeroes and uh, Phantom Pain to play, but man, I got so addicted to Peace Walker. It took everything that the other Metal Gears have done. It took the sort of stylistic choices of Portable Ops, and it threw it all together in a insanely impressive package. You could definitely tell that Kojima took the reins of this game because right off from the start, you can tell Portable Ops was done by somebody else. Kojima, maybe produced it, but he did not direct Portable Ops. And right from the get go, with Peace Walker, you can just tell that this is going to be an amazing Metal Gear game. And yeah, I loved Metal Gear 1, Metal Gear Solid 1 when I played it back in the day. Loved Metal Gear Solid 2. Just finished Metal Gear Solid 3 not all that long ago. Loved it. It's still, narrative wise, it still might be the pinnacle of the series. But there was just something about Peace Walker. The fact that it's a PSP game and it looks this way and how big it is and how robust it feels, and the mother base aspect to the game that I just got completely addicted to. Um, Building up Snake's army and going on missions and doing the extra ops and things like that. Like, I honestly, sitting here, I just can't wait to get to the Phantom Pain and sink my teeth into all of that stuff, especially after hearing, Devil May Pie and Return to Mother Base talk about it. I can't wait to sink my teeth into that. And Return to Mother Base, Alex, he actually told me to take a bit of a break because I was putting so much time into Peace Walker's Mother Base that I feel like when I get to Phantom Pain, I'm going to be a little burned out on it. So, yeah, taking a little break, playing Mega Man Legends now. And then maybe I'll still finish Etrian Odyssey Untold 2. But man, I really want to throw in Metal Gear Solid 4 right now. Like, I just, it's in the back of my brain, just like driving a nail through the front of my brain, like you need to play it now. Because I had such an amazing time with Peace Walker. And I don't think Metal Gear Solid 4 has anything like Mother Base, because I think Peace Walker came out after Metal Gear Solid 4. But I wanted to continue the storyline of the big boss, and then Alex told me to play 4 before I go into Ground Zeroes and Phantom Pains for the narrative aspects. So that's the way I'm going to be doing it. But man, Peace Walker, just phenomenal game. Where to even start with it? Storyline, after Metal Gear Solid 3 and Portable Ops, Snake has sort of set up his own little military utopia without a nation. And this very strange, ominous man with a red hand comes in and offers Snake a a mission, because this is a mercenary group. They take missions on, and it's a mission basically that Snake cannot pass up. It's too intriguing for him to pass up, and the mission takes him to Costa Rica, where he is to infiltrate and disarm this very, very impressive piece of machinery called Peacewalker. And what this thing is a nuclear deterrent. It basically erases human emotion from the equation, and anytime a nuke is launched, Peacewalker will retaliate with full force. And so it's basically one of the. It's basically a if you launch your nuke, you're killing yourself, because Peacewalker will not falter. It will retaliate and launch nukes. So it's a very interesting concept because, you know, I like reading about the Cold War, and it's pretty crazy how close we came to complete annihilation in real life. And then to sort of have these alternate stories that take the real life events and kind of show you a little bit more, quote unquote, what happened behind the scenes, and, you know, classified and things like that. And just a really, really impressive storyline. There are a few, like with every Metal Gear game, there are a few moments that I felt like it was a dead thread. Like, there are a few characters I don't really understand. Like, I don't really understand pauses point in the storyline after a certain point. And there's a few through lines that just kind of stop. But when you get to the end of the game, it really wraps up the Metal Gear Solid 3 story in a very, very satisfying way. Like, Portable Ops was a nice little coda, but Peace Walker really puts a nail on the coffin and really sets Big Boss on the path that we know he will eventually go to with Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake, which those are two games I really want to play now. I really want to go back and play the MSX Metal Gears. And I guess the easiest way to do that is to get the Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 HD collection. So maybe I'll look into getting that for my Vita to eventually play maybe after Phantom Pain, keep like the storyline kind of in a forward motion there. I have Metal Gear for the NES, but I guess this is like a really like doctored, and like Kojima has actually like disowned this version because he didn't really have anything to do with it. So I will eventually play it. I played it a little back in the day, and maybe it was like too hard for me back when I was a kid. But I remember looking at the ads for the game, and it was basically like this big catalog of all this equipment, and I would just sit there and look at the rocket launchers and the machine guns and all that stuff. So it is a game I want to go back and play. Might be a little archaic, but I do think I will eventually track down a Vita copy of 2 and 3 HD collection to play the MSX versions. I know that seems really weird to do. Like, I'm buying this HD version of 2 and 3 just to play these old computer games, but I might replay 2. Especially since, you know, I might go back and replay Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2 sometime. I'm not sure in this big marathon of games if I'll do it, but sometime. But anyway, I really, really, really dug the storyline to Peace Walker. It kept me entertained. It kept me enthralled. This game introduces the thing that the Phantom Pain is getting the most flack for, which is telling its story through audio logs. I actually really enjoyed the audio logs because sometimes, you know, when I'm playing a game, especially during cutscenes, which brings up an interesting point in a second, I like to just set down the controller and really just kick back and listen to the cutscenes and watch them. And with the audio logs, you can kick back and kind of listen to them and maybe do something else, you know, like sometimes I was loading the dishes while I was listening to the audio logs and things like that. So I do like that aspect. I understand, you know, people maybe not liking the fact that there are quote unquote no cutscenes in Phantom Pain, but I guess I'll see what it's like when I get there. But this game does have cutscenes, and they're done in the same visual style, albeit, you know, a bit more flashy than Portable Ops, but done in the same style of Portable Ops, where it looks like a visual animated graphic novel. And I really dug that in Portable Ops, and I dig it even more in Peace Walker. I think that style fits Metal Gear perfectly. I really do, especially when you look at like a lot of the promotional art for Metal Gear, and it's kind of done in that very abstract kind of drawing style. I really, really dig that. The cutscenes in this game, though, are a bit more interactive. There are QuickTime events in the cutscenes, and I wasn't quite ready for that, because sometimes you'll watch a bunch of cutscenes and there'll be nothing there. And then every now and then it'll throw like a button press at you, and these things count. They count towards your score at the end of each mission, which the game keeps track of how you do in the missions, and that affects your mother base abilities, I guess. But I wasn't ready for it, and pressing the buttons, especially during one scene, I about broke my hand during one scene pressing the button so hard. But yeah, that I don't really care for. I like to sit back and watch cutscenes and not really. I don't want it to be an interactive part of the game. The rest of the game can be interactive. That's fine. But cutscenes and storyline stuff, I don't really like QuickTime events that just pop up and you're like, oh shit. Because I like to set my controller down and just kind of, digest the storyline. But that's just me. But yeah, I guess I'm kind of getting into the gameplay, so let's go ahead and talk about the gameplay. Whereas Portable Ops was really kind of a stripped down version of Metal Gear Solid, this is just straight up Metal Gear Solid. Like stealth, like Portable Ops, you could really just run through the levels and not worry about stealth. This game, in a lot of ways, like Metal Gear Solid 3, although not as bad in a few places. A few places it is, but for the most part, not as bad. If you get caught, things are going to go south very fast. So stealth is a big part of the game still. I guess in Phantom Pain, stealth isn't that big of a part. We'll see when I get there. Yeah, I mean, I moved through the game mostly just using my tranquilizer pistol. Every now and then I'd pull out a machine gun. During the boss battles, you're mainly fighting tanks and robots and, things like that. So I use like rocket launchers and things like that. But for the most part, I would use my tranquilizer pistol. And the Fulton system, I think this is where it really comes into play. Like in Portable Ops, you had to drag people back to your truck to recruit them. And that was just, I got addicted to it, but man, it was such a bore. And this game introduces the Fulton system, which is you have these little propeller-driven balloons that you attach to sleeping or near-dead enemies, and it takes them up in the sky, or they catch them with a helicopter, and they take them back to Mother Base, and you can recruit these people and add them to your team. Super addictive. I would intentionally trank people just to get them. Even in places like I didn't have to actually engage the enemy. Like it was super easy to sneak past him. I would run up behind him and either trank him, or I would use my close quarters combat to knock him out and then send him off. It just super addictive in collecting people to send back to Mother Base. So I'm really looking forward to that in Phantom Pain. I really, the whole Mother Base segment, I guess we should just start talking about, because really, other than the Mother Base segment, the game plays like every other Metal Gear game you've played. A bit better controls, and things like that. Not so much, the camera angles have kind of changed, where it's not so much like an overhead view, but it's more of a over-the-shoulder view, which I think works really well. But the Mother Base segment, it just added this whole thing. Like it's really starting to feel like a Metal Gear RPG, and I really dig that. Like the managing of your troops and the resources and upgrading weapons and going on outer ops missions, going on extra ops missions to get more stuff. It just becomes super addictive to kind of increase your arsenal and increase your not only your overall army, but the base itself. Mother Base itself will expand the more you do. And there's just, I don't know, there's something super addictive about it. And I really, really, really got into it. And that's probably one of the biggest reasons I'm looking forward to the Phantom Pain, is because I really want that Mother Base just more robust. And I watched Devil May Pie's video, and he was talking about getting addicted to the Mother Base segments. And the way he was talking about it, I was just like, especially after playing Peace Walker, I was just like, oh my god, I like every time I go to GameStop, I want to grab the Phantom Pain, but I know I still have like 4 Ground Zeroes, and I think I might play Revengeance before I play Phantom Pain. I don't know. We'll see how long I can hold off on getting the Phantom Pain. But I know I'd pay full price for it right now, and then it would sit on the shelf, and then by the time I'd be ready to play it, it would be like $30 brand new, and I'd kick myself for spending that extra $20 on it. So I am going to hold off until I'm absolutely 100% ready for the Phantom Pain before I buy it. But man, the Mother Base segment, it just, that is brilliant. And I absolutely love that. And it makes total sense with the narrative because Snake is not really, he's not really the lone wolf soldier anymore, you know. He's not, you know, the sneaking agent. He's the commander of this army. So it makes more sense that the gameplay of Metal Gear would change a little bit and it would not be so stealth oriented, where Peace Walker still is really stealth oriented. I feel like, you know, the complaint about Phantom Pain not being so stealth oriented is kind of a moot point because if you think about it, I mean, he's more or less a commander of an army now. He has all these resources at his disposal. Why wouldn't he just drop a fucking tank down and go mow down the enemies? I mean, it makes more sense, I guess, since he's the leader of this military without a nation, you know. But like I said, we'll see when I get there. I don't know. I might be talking out of my ass. The graphics, man, the graphics are gorgeous in this game. Absolutely, like I played it on my Vita, and like I had to constantly remind myself that this was a PSP game. And I mean, there is a little bit of pixelation in it and things like that. And if you have the Legacy Collection, the graphics do look a lot better. I looked at some graphics comparisons. But the mere fact that this is on the PSP is just mind-blowing. Like, it's like the PSP and the Vita. Developers have barely scratched the surface of what these systems can do. And it's unfortunate that they're kind of relegated to like a niche status, because I feel like if there was really developers like pushing these systems, we would be seeing like Vita games that just look phenomenal. Because Peace Walker looks phenomenal, and it was on the PSP, for God's sake. Just amazing looking. The cutscenes, like I said, they look awesome with that graphical style that I really feel like fits the series well. The audio, music, you gotta love the Metal Gear music. I mean, it goes from kind of creepy, stealthy, to like, you know, action-packed, to these very, I would almost say, these very jarring songs. Like the theme song to Peace Walker is like this very like, these glasses are killing my ear. This very like, I don't know, operatic sounding ballad, and it plays during one of the final moments of the game. And it really does add like this very cinematic feel to it. It sounds like sort of like the Roger Moore era of James Bond songs, where, you know, it was very, they were all ballads, and it was very jarring with the action of the movie, but somehow it still fit. The song, which is Heaven's Divide, I think. Yeah. It's a very jarring song with the game, but also it fits somehow. I don't know how to describe it. I really don't know how to describe it. But it doesn't fit, and it fits at the same time. And the same thing with the game using the song, is it just called Sing? Or is it called Sing a Song? That sing a song, you know, that song. Again, very jarring, but at the same time, it fits. And not only does it fit, it's very sad. Like when you understand the context of the song in the game, and during that last cutscene, you're just like, oh my god, it kind of adds this new level of heartbreak to the song that was never there before. But you know, now because of Peace Walker, and if you've played the game, you know, there is a bit of a sad thing with that song. But yeah, I'm gonna have to get that CD, that, or not CD, but the thing on iTunes that has all the vocal songs from the Metal Gear series, because I have pretty much liked all of them. They don't fit with the game, but they fit at the same time. It's so weird how that it feels like it's very out of place, but at the same time, it's nothing else could play there. It's so weird. But yeah, Peace Walker, man. I really wish I had a game to hold up. It's so weird to not have anything in my hands. I'm going to have to track down a physical copy of it, because it's one of those games I do want in the collection. And I know I'm not big on collecting anymore, but it feels really weird to only have that in digital form, because it is such a good game. It's the best Metal Gear game I've played so far, without a doubt. Maybe Metal Gear Solid 3 has more heft on the narrative end, but I think on the gameplay end, Metal Gear Peace Walker was just... I could not even imagine how good it would be. And Alex, the entire time, Alex is like, see, man, I told you how good Peace Walker was going to be. Although he kind of built up the final battle as this big epic thing. And it is an epic thing, but at the same time, it's one of the most frustrating fights until I figured out what I was doing wrong. It's amazing when you go into boss battles. If you change your outfit to the combat outfit, it's amazing how easier those boss battles are. I went into it with the sneaking suit and I was just getting decimated, and then I was like, well, let me change the combat suit, and I just knocked Peace Walker off its ass, you know. So it's a pro tip, when you go into boss battles, use the combat suit if you have it. And do the extra ops, because you'll get a bunch of documents that you can create better weapons, and you really want to go into the Peace Walker fight with 2 missile launchers and maybe a machine gun. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. But anyway, yeah, phenomenal series. I'm so pissed at myself for like letting this series just kind of sit on the back burner, because I had a ton. I mean, I would buy these games. I would buy the Metal Gear games, and I'd be like, oh, I'll get around to it. I gotta go back and play Metal Gear Solid 3, and then I'd never get around to going back and playing Metal Gear Solid 3. And then finally, I said, fuck it, I'm doing it. And like all my marathons, I've done a marathon of the Soul series. I've done a marathon of the Mother series. Now I'm doing a marathon of Metal Gear. I'm having a blast doing these marathon. I don't know if I have a series. I mean, I guess I could, if I wanted to, I guess I could marathon the Star Ocean games, because I've finished 1 and I've played 2 a bunch of times and played 3, but I've never finished 2, 3, 4, or 5, which is going to be coming out soon. Kind of lost track of the numbering there. That's why I said 5. But I don't know. I don't know what other series I could marathon. But I'm having a blast doing this marathoning stuff. Just playing like a series throughout. And you really get to see, like, Breath of Fire. I could do Breath of Fire. You really get to see the progression in the games, and I really like that. You get to see the history and how things have gone, and I really want to go back and play the MSX games just to see how everything started and how it's evolved and all that kind of stuff. It's really fun, and it's making the gaming more fun to see like the history and the evolution and things like that. And like Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker is just an evolution of everything that came before. And I know playing Metal Gear Solid 4, I'm going to be taking a slight step back gameplay-wise, because I know it's very cutscene heavy, doesn't have the Mother Base aspect. But then when I get to Ground Zeroes and Phantom Pain, I just don't feel like I'm going to be disappointed with it like everyone, like certain people out there are. I know Alex really likes it. Danny, I think Danny ended up really liking it, although he did have sort of caveats with it. And a few other people that I've talked to. The big thing with Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain that I've heard is it's an excellent game. Excellent game. It's just not an excellent Metal Gear Solid game. So if I can sort of break my brain out of that mindset, I think I would really enjoy it. But I don't know. We'll find out. Anyway, that is it for this video. I'm going to go back out there and play some Mega Man Legends. Could go out there and play Metal Gear Legends. It's not even a real game. Mega Man Legends, hopefully get that done in the next couple of days, and then right back into Metal Gear Solid 4. So, anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Take care. I'll see you next time.